Hello, folks. How are you? Welcome to episode 118. Man, does that intro get me pumped. Woo! We got to get a new one. Anyway, folks, this episode is sponsored by Beat It Sport. Check them out online. Use the code FLA10. Beat It Sport Canada now. BEETIT Canada.ca. 400 milligrams of nitrates in every single shot. Great for the heart, great for the health, and great for anybody who's in combat sports, running, anything like that. Thanks for joining us. Obviously, we have a fantastic episode here tonight. Really excited. We have a local amateur boxer who will be turning pro here probably in the next couple of years, I'm sure. We'll talk to him about that. His name's Moe Milad. He's 5-0. He's three finishes, I believe, in his record. You know, he's located here in Halifax, trains at a tribal boxing with Bridget Stevens and Jim Maloney. Does a lot of really great things, very, very well. Competed in the Olympic box office, did very, very well there. Third. He's been up at the Brampton Cup. I believe it's called the Brampton Cup, and competed very well up there, got bronze, and now he's obviously focused on bigger and better things. It's interesting out here. Obviously, we focus a lot on MMA, but there's so many talented boxers out here on the East Coast especially, and they're all doing really great things. So I think it's really cool to chat with all these up-and-coming boxers, and because I'm a big fan of them myself. So let's bring them on. Mr. Moe Milad, how are you, sir?
Good. Thanks for having me.
Awesome, man. Yeah, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it. How was your day?
It was good. Just did some sparring, so it was great. Fun day.
Yeah, nice. You spar. So we'll get into it right away, I guess. I guess before we get into sparring, martial arts. How old are you, Mo, now? 19?
Yeah, I'm 19.
Man,
turned 20 in December.
Good for you. Good for you. And you started around 15, 16. You started boxing.
Yeah, 15. I think just about to turn 16.
Any particular reason why you got into boxing, or?
I just used to watch Muhammad Ali, used to like him, and then used to just bug my parents to let me join. And then I used to get in trouble a lot. So they'd let me join, but then I'd get in trouble, so they'd take me out. Just a classic story. So first time I went to the gym, I was probably 14, 15. I went for 2-3 weeks. It's also one of the first things I ever did, sport-wise, that I was good at it from the start, right? So
yeah,
that's nice.
That I guess would be a huge draw for you too, where you're naturally kind of inclined to it right away. It feels natural to you. You're obviously going to keep going back.
Yeah, walked in and I did everything wrong, but they were you still did it better than everyone else. Beginners are pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
So it's nice hearing that, right? So I was oh fuck yeah, I could do this.
Good motivation.
I played soccer and stuff growing up. I was never that great. All my friends are high level athletes, national level soccer and national level basketball, you know what I mean? Sprinters. And I was never on their level. So first thing I joined, I was oh, you're good at this. I was oh, fuck yeah.
Perfect.
And then, I used to just get in trouble a lot, honestly, way too much. So go there for 2 weeks, get in trouble. Parents wouldn't let me go for another 6 months. So
good, fighting at school or something like that.
Yeah, just fighting, just a bunch of stuff, just normal high school stuff. I used to get in a lot of trouble. So finally went back November 2016. And I remember Bridget telling me at Tribal Boxing, Bridget Stevens, who's my coach, she was provincials are coming up. If you would have stuck with it, you would have been fighting. And that just stuck with me. I was man, just me getting in trouble, right? Time goes by, right? Time waits for nobody.
It really does. Yeah.
So that really stuck with me. So I was you just got to straighten out of my act. I want to fight. I want to compete. I watch these guys. I personally think I'm better than this guy. He's fighting provincials. I'm you know what I mean? The competitiveness. I'm
that's good.
If I can't. Yeah, if I'm getting in trouble and I can't compete, I can't show that to anyone.
Mm-hmm.
So that kind of just that stuck with me. That first time I went in, she was wow, you would have been fighting right now. You ruined it. And I was damn. And then I started going every day.
Nice.
Finally had my first fight, and then just never looked back.
Fantastic. That's very cool. It's cool to hear too, because Bridget, you hear so many good stories about Bridget and Jim and the group there. I went in there. We did a little video with Corey Littler, who competed on our event last February, and just a fantastic environment in there. What's it been like for you? Obviously they have a big impact on you outside the gym too.
Yeah, they're family. They're definitely family. Yeah, they just kind of helped me straighten my act out. Honestly, like never like the worst kid or anything, but
No,
like
no, yeah.
I was like, yeah, I'd get in trouble a lot. Like I got in trouble a fair bit, and they just kind of like understood it, and they were just like, just stay in the gym. Like you're good at this, you like it. Like it's not worth it. And then they just helped me, like, you know what I mean? They're like, if you can't like do the, like, don't worry about paying the rent dues. Like just come train. Like just stay
Nice.
out of trouble. Like you will train you for free. Like even if I couldn't afford to go to tournaments or anything, like they take care of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The whole gym would go out to eat. Like, you know what I mean? Gym would pay for everyone. Like they do a lot of like the kindness of their heart, right? And then they take care of everyone.
Yeah.
And this is just not just me. You know what I mean? Like they do that with a lot of people. So it's pretty great. Like they're super positive, and my parents saw that too, because still got in trouble a little bit after I joined. But they saw that it was like a positive place, like, you know what I mean, great people. Like my parents trusted me with them, so like you're in good hands here, and then
That's cool.
just let me stay. Yeah.
That's nice, man, because you're now your parents must be super proud too, because A, of who you become, and then obviously B, of the relationship you form with Bridget and Jim too. It's cool, you know, when you can be accepted like family. And like here in jiu-jitsu, like my family is my club too, right? And it's this weird thing when you're trying to kill one another like all the time. It's just like this weird kind of like bond you have with people. It's interesting, right? Like, and boxing's a little bit different than jiu-jitsu too. It's not like boxing's a little bit more, obviously, you know, some people, to me, it's interesting because they're like, I never want to get choked. And I'm like, because me, I'm like, no, I never want to get punched in the face at all. Like I have no interest in that. And it's funny, the difference, eh?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think anyone wants to get punched in the face. I think just learn how to do it the right way.
Yeah,
Not get punched in the face.
Yeah, I guess. Well, speaking of that, like your technique is beautiful, man. You're fun to watch. Very fun to watch.
Yeah, I try. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah,
Well,
just more of a defensive guy, which is good. I like it. Not getting hit too much.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? Like you're getting hit all the time. It's, you know, it's exciting too for the fans, but like longevity wise and the paydays, man, like Mayweather, you know, he's not getting.
It's not fun going home with like half a concussion, or like, you know what I mean? Like it's fun at the time. You're like, you went to war, but then right after your head hurts. You're like, and you think about that too, because all the stuff in football, like we're seeing the stuff, CTE, all the stuff. It's not like we're blind. It's not like we're like, it's normal. Don't worry about it. You know what I mean? Like you're going to worry about it. You get a concussion. You're like, what's the long-term effect of this?
Mm-hmm.
So like no one wants to get that. Like, I don't care how much you love the sport. You know what I mean? Like you want to leave with all your facilities intact.
It's that hard balance of like really good competitor versus like, you know, health, right? Because like not too many people, you know, that you speak to in combat sports give a shit about getting hurt. They care about losing, you know. So but then it's like when you look at the concussion, it's like, oh, I can't get, you know, like you have to be really smart about it, man, because like losing's one thing, but you have the rest of your life to live too, right?
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm probably the same way. Like I'd probably rather leave hurt than lose.
Yeah,
like
sure.
10 times out of 10.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like most competitors are going to tell you that, but like I'm not going in there like willing to trade 3 punches for one. Like it may work for the 1 odd fight, it may work for the 2 odd fights, but I don't think you're ever going to get to the top like that. Mm-hmm. I don't think you're ever going to have a very long career like that. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of pointless. Like even if you lose a fight, like, you know what I mean? Just fight smart. I think fighting smart's just huge. Like
it really
too many people want to like be blood and guts warriors. Arturo Gatti, Mickey Ward. I mean, those guys were fun to watch, but you didn't see them in the hospital after. You know what I mean? Like there's no cameras then, right? They went to the hospital after like all 3 of their fights. And like I met Mickey, like trained with Dickie, like great guys, but Dickie didn't train him to get hit. You know what I mean? It's just kind of like you got to have that though. You got to have that, like you get hit, you're not backing down. You got to have that heart. You got to have that gut. But like you're never gonna meet a half decent boxing trainer that's gonna teach you to take 3 to give 1.
Yeah, no,
like,
it's never. It doesn't make much
ridiculous.
sense to me. And I'm like, I'm when it comes to boxing, I know like I'm not fooling anybody. Like I know a shit ton at all, right? And so to me, it's like, yeah, that's a bad agreement. Like I'm gonna get hit 3 times to get once. Like that to me makes no sense at all.
That math makes no sense
at all, right? So like it's like you go to transition MMA, like get kicked 3 times in the head versus like one knee? No, like that
Yeah.
makes no sense, right? Do you do any other martial arts at all?
No, not really. No, I was
Strictly
looking at
focused on that.
maybe on the boxing. I was looking at maybe getting into some jujitsu just for fun. I like Halifax, BJJ, or somewhere like that. Wouldn't be bad to know what to do on the ground, but that'd just be more of a hobby if anything. Like everything's kind of focused on boxing right now.
Smart. Well, that's makes sense. Obviously, that's what you've been
Oh
working
yeah.
for. So, how, like for you, obviously, you've competed a lot, but a lot specifically away from home. You have competed at home quite a bit.
Yeah,
But
like yeah, sometimes at home,
kind
mostly
of
away though.
mostly
Half
away,
and half,
right?
I'd say. No,
Half and
half and
half.
half. Yeah, I think I have like maybe like 35 fights right now. But I've been trained like boxing for 3 years now. This past year, I've had zero because of COVID and stuff. So my first 2 years, I had like 16, 17 fights a year, which is like pretty unheard of. But I was just taking like anybody, you know what I mean? Take them as they come. So I only turned open class my 4th fight because I just personally didn't see a point in like fighting novice fighters that I knew I was going to beat. You know what I mean? Like they're not going to challenge you. Like, and I thought, yeah, and I thought I started late because you see so many boxers that are like 10, 11 years old, hundreds of fights. Like all the guys I'm fighting right now have hundreds of fights. Like, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Been boxing for years. So I'm thinking in my head, like 16 is not too young. But you know me, at 16, I'm like, these guys have 5 years on me. You know what I mean? Like I'm starting like a middle-aged man. Like, so I'm just like skip all the easy fights. Like, you know what I mean? I want to take like the challenging ones. I want the ones that are going to push me up and get better. And I think it paid off. So I'm happy with what I did.
Huge paid off. Like I'm always interested in that because sometimes people take different routes in careers, and it's up to everybody. But to me, it's like I would always want that tough fight, and I say that, but I'm not a fighter, right? So like I can't say that. But it's interesting the different routes that people kind of do take. So that it's like I was talking to a fighter today who wants to compete in the next card, and he's like a pro, like a really well known. And he's like, I want the toughest fight you can get me.
That's what some people are.
Yeah.
And I think at the pro scene, I think all fighters at heart should be like that and are mostly like that. Like, obviously, no one wants to lose, this and that. Mm-hmm. I think that's why managers come into play because you tell any fighter, like, you know what I mean? We're matching up with this guy. It's like, cool. Like, I'm not scared. Like, this is what I train for. You know what I mean? Like, I'll take him on. But in the pro game where the record means, especially in boxing, a record means a lot more. They'll build you up, you know what I mean? Get you slightly tougher, get you meaningful fights, kind of guide your path instead of just, but in the amateurs, I don't think that matters so much. I think getting any and all fights because it's experience at the end of the day, right?
Yeah.
So like bring them on, honestly. What I say.
Experience. How it's, and that's another thing that's interesting about boxing versus MMA too, because like amateur boxing is so huge. Like there's like, look at you, like you're saying 35 fights versus there's some people in MMA who have like maybe 1-2 fights and then they want to go pro. And I'm like,
yeah,
and that's understand, like if you're like a high level, whatever, but like still it's like, man, like you should be fighting legit, like as much as you can at amateur, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, amateurs the experience. Like I know, like lots of countries.
Record. Like
like lots of countries, the amateur is the thing. Like people stay 35, 36 amateurs, but I think amateurs is huge. I want to do as best as I can. I want to win as many medals as I can. But at the end of the day, like I know I want to turn pro. I know I want to fight for world championships. I know I want to win world championships. Like everything's to get better. You know what I mean? Like I'm not worried about my record as an amateur. Saying that, I hate to lose. Like, I don't want to lose any fights. You know what I mean? But I'm like in the pros, you'd be like, well, maybe this isn't a smart fight to take at this point in our career. But in the amateurs, I don't think you can really look at it like that because even if you lose, you're going to get better.
Yeah. Learn, get better. Was win or learn, right? I guess is pretty much it. It's that's a good segue too, because one thing I really noticed about you too, and there are other local boxers, but like you really take the game serious, man. Like you understand everything about the game, it seems, and which is really cool to see at 19 years of age. Like you're using everybody in the greater area of Halifax that you can to utilize you to get better. So like, you're doing your strength and conditioning with Carlos over at Pro Edge. And then you have obviously the team at Proactive with Warren and Sport.Coach. How has that affected you?
First of all, shout out to all of them for helping me out. I don't know. Like it's, I think more out of the goodness of their hearts. Like they helped me out. Chris Kalidas,
Yep.
hooked me up
Awesome
with
guy.
lots of them. Like, yeah, great guy. I think he kind of like introduced me. Like I knew Carlos because Carlos works with like lots of boxers like that I spar with, Joey, Wyatt, Gavin. So I always like knew Carlos. Like we went to Pro Edge, did some classes sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just a guy that likes to ask a lot of questions. Like I'm always researching
Smart.
about like diets and like strength and conditioning and stuff. And I'd always like shoot them questions. And I started working with Carlos over quarantine. He gave me some like runs and stuff, like just like some conditioning, and I felt like it was great. Like I felt like super in shape.
Mm-hmm.
And then so after we started getting in the gym, and it's only been like 5 weeks now that I've been working with Carlos, like in the gym with the conditioning and all that. And I think it's a world of difference because I know how to box, or I'm getting better at boxing. Like I can't say I know it all, but I'm a boxer, but I know nothing of the weight room. I know, like, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
he's teaching me all the technique. Like I feel way stronger. I think I'm hitting a lot harder. And then Chris hooked me up with the team at Proactive. Dr. Warren helps me out, like helps take care of my body. And Sport.Cokes, we've been working for a little bit now. And I'm just like just them giving me a plan and me trying to follow it to the best of my abilities. Like I'm seeing lots of great results. So I couldn't be happier.
Nice. It's
And
smart. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I just think like that's what everyone should do, right? If the resources are there and they're helping me out, like just try to follow the plan as best as you can and you'll see the results.
Yeah.
Great.
It's very true, and it's one thing that I took away from exactly what you said is you ask a lot of questions, and I'm pretty much on like ask. I don't. I was gonna say something else, but I better not. But I ask a ton of questions, like nonstop. And I think it's gotten me to where I am today. If you're not curious, and that means you're not interested. So to me, it's like if 9 times out of 10, if someone, like, I could be wrong, I don't know Warren but I do know Cokes, and I do know that 9 times out of 10 that if someone went to her and was like, listen, I'm interested in doing this, and like I have tons of heart, and she's going to do whatever she can to make that athlete better.
I think they're all like that. And yeah, I just research stuff. Like I go to university, so I'd like be reading like peer reviewed articles, like strength and conditioning, diets, like all of that. And I just shoot like ideas off them and stuff. And I think though, like you can do a lot self-taught, kind of, but these are their fields. Like, you know what I mean? They specialize in it. And then she'll just like tell me like, well, how about we try this? Because I always want to go to something super extreme or like, and just honestly them like letting me like get the basics down, like nutrition. Like it's kind of simple. Like if you eat mostly clean, you fuel yourself. Like I wasn't fueling myself. Like I would try to barely eat to try to drop weight, and just a whole bunch of rookie mistakes. And I know it's wrong. Like, you know what I mean? Like I can, like Google will tell you that much. Like, you know that you should be fueling yourself. I'm training 2-3 times a day, not eating anything, but them giving me a plan, me following it, and just like trusting the plan, seeing the results, which helps obviously. So they're great people, and they're like at the top of their field. Like Sport.Cokes knows everything she's talking about. She knows it very well. Like she's always researching new stuff, always like trying out new ideas, which I think is great because
like an athlete.
Yeah, because nutrition, like I think combat nutrition is like kind of untapped, right? Like it's super new, and she's right on the top of it. Carlos, like Dr. Warren, they all like working with combat athletes, and I'm super thankful to have them on my team, and I feel the difference.
Nice. That's cool. Oh, sorry.
I tell anyone that's like serious in combat, like training, all that, just check them out, see what they have to offer.
Well, I think that's the difference, exactly like what you said. If they're serious, because like lots of people have abs, right? Lots of man. I've trained with lots of people. Like, oh shit, like I guess I judged wrong. And I'm like, I don't have 10 abs, man, but I could fight for like an hour and a half if I need to.
Yeah,
it's interesting, but like what they do is they take like like you said, it's like they're perfection in because I've kind of seen Cokes a few times too about that. Like, but I'm not a super high. I'm 40 years old now, so I'm definitely not
That's okay, man.
high level athlete. But like, I don't fuel myself properly, like going to train and things like that. And they're like just little things, like you just.
And I feel like you probably know better, but having someone sitting there like, come on, like you're training for 2 hours and you're eating like a granola bar on the way to like, you know what I mean? After work, you're eating a granola bar on the way to train for 2 hours. Like, do you think that that's like you're properly fueled? Like,
yeah.
So just having someone to like really tell you and like, you know what I mean? Like, I think for the most part, lots of people know like what they're doing isn't right. Or like, I used to try to like intermittent fast and do all this stuff, but like trying to train multiple times a day, like it's probably not smart.
Yeah. Got to keep fueling, man. What you've boxed a couple times in the same day? Ever?
No, not in the same day.
Never?
No tournaments. No, tournaments are just like I boxed back-to-back days, like nationals and stuff like that, but never same day.
What's that big tournament in Brampton? Is that the one? Was I right with that?
Brampton Cup. Yeah, it's a big one. I went my first year.
Mm-hmm.
I got gold, 60 kilos. I liked it. Like I only went the 1 year. It's a big tournament, but I don't think anything really compares to nationals, especially in Canada. Like Brampton, you're gonna have like some like recreational people.
It's like kind of like just a huge tournament, isn't that what it's?
Yeah, and I think it's like great for novices because nationals you have to be open class, but there's novice and open classes. So I think for novices and open class fighters, but like to get experience and get 2-3 days in a row, like with guys that you don't know, you know what I mean? Like different looks. So it's great. It's not that far. It's only in Ontario. Yeah. Definitely worth going to, but nationals is definitely like the big ticket.
Yeah, nationals. What do you think about the whole experience there? Like obviously you've competed now a lot in like some big stages and in front of quite big crowds now. Obviously it's just going to keep bigger and bigger for you if
I hope so.
Well, I think it will, man. You know, I whether I have any say or not, I'm gonna think you're gonna go far. But like, what do you think? Like, do you take any kind of stuff away from every one of those experiences? You're like, oh, that was like from a crowd or from like a big fight. Like, what's kind of the important things that you do take away from these experiences?
I think my biggest takeaway is probably from my first fight at my first nationals. I fought a guy from New Brunswick, so I've seen him before. And I was like, oh, like, this guy isn't that good. Like, he knows I'm better than him. Like, you know, like, I was only going there with, like, 6-7 fights, but, like, I had, like, a little bit of a rep, like, in Atlantic Canada. Like, I beat the current national champion from New Brunswick, like, my 5th fight. So I was, like, kind of knew me. So I was, like, I was looking past him already. Like, I fight Alberta the next day. I was watching Alberta. I was like, this guy knows I'm better than him. I show up, throws everything and the kitchen sink at me. And like, I was like, because it's only 3-minute rounds, 3-minute rounds. So halfway through the round, I'm like, man, I could lose. Like all these people supported me. It's my first nationals. Like I went by myself, like with the Nova Scotia team, but Bridget wasn't with me. Like no one was with me. So I'm like, man, everyone's watching me. I might lose my first fight. So I dug down, like got the win. But I think that taught me, like, I've never, ever, ever underestimated someone after that. I was like, wow, everyone's here to win. They didn't pay all that money to come here to be like, oh, I went, like, you know what I mean? Yeah. So I never, ever underestimated anyone. I just stayed focused. And I think I learned something from every single fight, like different styles, what you need to do to impress the judges, all of that.
Interesting. That's interesting. So you made that that mental switch, eh?
I felt it middle of the round. I was like, because you don't have that much time. So like, I mean, I kind of panic a little bit. Like, I feel like if I lost like the first 30 seconds or the first minute, or I didn't do anything, I'm like, I could lose this round. That means I have to win the next 2 to win the fight. Like, you know what I mean? Because you don't have that much time to work, right? Like,
no, that's true though. That's a good way to think, really.
Yeah. So I'm just like, man, what am I doing? Like, I'm watching the next guy, and like, he's coming to win. Everyone's here to win. No one's there to lose. Like, why would they wouldn't show up, right? So never underestimate after everyone. Like, I got the win. Oh, he came with everything. I mean, I knew I was better than him, but that doesn't matter. Like, if he shows up and beats me up, like, he won. He goes on, right? Like,
well, especially coming off like you beat him already.
No, I didn't beat him. I beat someone better than him.
Oh,
like,
okay.
His teammate was better than him. and then like he fought one of my teammates, like he lost, like he wasn't like no disrespect to him or anything. Like he gave me a great fight. Like he doesn't box anymore, but it was like he'd come out to me and be like, "Oh, that was a great fight." Like, you know what I mean? I was like I was better than him. He knew I was better than him, but I was like, it does not matter, right? Like you can't underestimate anyone. Whoever's better on the night.
Yeah.
And he came with everything. He gave me a great fight. Like I got the win. I just dug down, just like got the win. I didn't think it was that impressive. Like I think I should have like boxed better, obviously, but that like the rest of the tournament was pretty great. Like I stayed focused. I was like, can't watch the next guy. Just stay focused on your opponent, right? Like,
yeah, interesting lessons, like not to, because here you are looking past him and he's like, no, like, no,
he's ready.
Like I'm coming for you, right? And like I deal with that too. You deal with that in training. Sometimes you're like, this guy's coming to kill me. Like he's, and you're trying to take not take it easy, but like just kind of like get through the round. That's the beauty of fighting, right? Like styles make fights, every different. Like you can't lie when it comes to fighting because you're fighting a different human being that moves a totally different way. Like it just you can't lie.
Yeah, and I think at any sort of competitive level, no one's there to lose. Like even if you're better than them in every aspect of the game. For the most part, like you're gonna get the people that are gonna lie down, but they're not gonna lie down, right? Like you're fighting, like you're literally punching each other in the face. So that was a nice wake up call for me, and luckily I still got the win. Like it woke me up the first 30 seconds. I was like, this guy's here to fight. Like he's not here to lie down. So it was a good lesson that I didn't like lose, and I was like pissed. Like I was like, I really like, you know what I mean? Like dropped the ball. Yeah. Like I got the win and then went on to have like a good tournament. Like I got to the finals. But
good story.
Yeah. So
cool whole
funny. I tell that to everyone. It's a funny one.
Well, it's motivating, right? Like like when that's what makes or breaks an athlete, like if you can get out there and the lights are shining on you, and especially if you're like the way you fight, man, is fun to watch. What I find fun because you're very fluid in how you move, but it's like you're 2 steps ahead, man. Like you're kind of like, and when you can be like that as an athlete, man, scary thing. Not that I've been there, but I've been on the other side a lot.
No, it's good. Yeah, I hope so. I hope it all works out. Been just trying to train smarter, fight smarter, get better. See where it takes me.
You were sparring over there with we were saying with Titans and the Gavin and Coco and the crew.
Yeah, honestly, like I sparred with Joey Laviolette a lot.
Nice,
great sparring. All the guys at my gym and stuff too. Like shout out to Andrew Thomas, like Jay Holly. Like there's a whole crew over there.
Yeah.
But from out of my club, obviously, I sparred with Gavin like quite a bit, especially when he's like in camp. Coco's great rounds. I just went over to Titans today and I sparred Anthony Moschini, like Coco, and there's like some people I don't remember their names. Like I never met them before, but they have lots of bodies over at Titans, which is great. But I'd say those are probably my main sparring partners. Sparred with Brett like one time, but he's kind of doing his own thing right now. So
Brett?
The Hustle Believe Achieve.
That's right. Yeah. What was I going to say? Andrew Thomas. Yeah, he's a good guy too. He's talented too.
Yeah, in the MMA scene.
Hopefully,
lots of MMA guys. MMA guys.
No interest in MMA though, eh?
No, I don't want the cauliflower ears.
No,
that's honestly it. Yeah. I remember growing up, I was like, do I want to box or do I want to do MMA? Because I went to Titans the very first time I went. And I just remember seeing the cauliflower ears, and I was like, man, I don't want that. Like, that's not for me.
Yeah. And
so I was like, I think I'll stay away from that. I'll just stick to the boxing.
That's hilarious, man. I guess, I don't know. Like I've trained, I will say I've trained pretty hard, I guess, through 10 years now. And I don't have much at all. It's weird, how styles, I guess, like some guys who they can blow right up. It's just my luck though. I'll probably like get it my second day of training or something.
Well, I guess painful.
Yeah, I don't think it's like jiu-jitsu. I've probably done maybe in my life, maybe like 15 sparring rounds total, like in my life. So I haven't sparred a shit ton, but like jiu-jitsu wise, like with black belt. So you would think, but like my ears are fine, but I think a lot of it comes from like the kicks and the hammer fist and like the knees and like that kind of stuff. But like, I don't know. I don't want I don't know how hard you and Gavin are sparring at some points, but like you're getting some again high level athletes, man. Like there's levels to this game.
100%.
You know, it's yeah. What do you think about Nova Scotia boxing? The scene, it's pretty damn good right now, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, it's good. Like I just don't think we have the numbers like Quebec or Ontario or something.
Yeah.
And that makes sense. Like they have millions of people, so they have a bigger pool. But I think we have lots of talented fighters. I kind of wish that clubs would work with each other a little bit more. Yeah. Obviously, so because I think at the end of the day, it's not club versus club. It's
Cheers
Nova Scotia versus Nova Scotia versus Ontario, or you know what I mean. At the end of the day, it's Canada versus the world, right? Like, but we have lots of talented fighters, lots of people coming up, and there's lots of kids in the sport, which is great.
Awesome.
So hopefully, a great future.
Nice. That's cool. I think it's very important too. Like, I don't know. Like, we're certainly interested in doing boxing events down the road, but only in the way of where it would help. Like, we're not interested in stepping on toes and like getting in that way. You know, like my business partner, he's been involved in boxing a lot too. But it's interesting. It's an interesting sport when you're coming at it from an MMA perspective. You're crossing into a world that when you don't know so much about the world, it's like, But on the other hand, it's like if you can offer a real good product, no one really cares.
Right? 100%. Like I don't think it should be political. Like
I don't think
you can put on a show. At the end of the day, you putting on a show helps the fighters. Kids can get more fights. Like it can only be a good, right? It can only be positive. So
that's what we look at. Like eventually,
for it.
It'd be pretty cool if you can put on a Friday night boxing event and Saturday night MMA or vice versa or whatever, right? So who knows what could happen? But MMA obviously is our jam here for the next little bit. But we got Hey Box. I'm not sure who you are, but what's up? Any mentors to you? Who's a big mentor to you? Obviously, probably most of the people we spoke of already, but like inside and outside the gym, who's the people that have gotten you? You know, you're obviously well spoken. You're like you handle yourself very, very well in and outside of the ring, man. Like who's got you to this level?
I don't know, like my parents, my coaches.
Nice.
Just I think everyone that I've surrounded myself with are positive people. Gavin, Chris is a great guy. Like he's helped me out a lot. Just everyone. I like to surround myself with positive people, and then it's all good.
Nice, yeah. Kalidas is he's helped us out a lot too behind the scenes. Like he's just a real good guy. Like wholesome. Awesome, like people like for a guy who's like competed on the world level, he's a world champion in an organization. Like just like the salt of the earth kind of guy, eh? And he's
I'll hype him up too much. He'll probably hear.
Yeah, he probably will. I know he'll give me shit. He'll give me shit after this, but
no, he's a great guy. He's always willing to help too, so which is always awesome. Like he's willing to help everyone, and that's something that I think almost everyone that I surround myself with is. Everyone like was willing to help other people. They don't look for something in return.
Yeah,
which is awesome.
Well, it's again like with all this shit going on in the world right now. Like if you have no social media, you would not know what's going on. And realistically, you could go through your day, probably every single day, and not meet a bad person. You know, like my dad always said, he's like, 90% of the world is, or 98% of the world, or whatever, like is really good people. Like there's some shitty people out there too, but like majority of the people in this world are really good people. And like it's like you say, if you just ask, like you said, just ask a question, man. And most people are willing to help, right? And it's I think it's fantastic. And I notice that kind of stuff too. I notice how you are on social media. You're always really kind and supportive to everybody, man. And that's awesome. It's a great way to be. You're a good role model in your own right, man. So keep it up.
I appreciate that. Thank you. I appreciate that.
All right, man.
Well, great people.
That's it, right? That's it. And any final shout outs you want to give out to anybody or before we call it a night?
Just shout out to all the people helping me and supporting me, and I appreciate it. And shout out to Brett McNeil, actually, also. He's helped me out a lot in the past with nutrition, strength and conditioning. Great guy. And then everyone else, thank you for tuning in.
Awesome. Cool. Well said, man. And keep doing great things. You're a respectful young man that's got a huge future, buddy. So keep it up. All right, buddy.
I appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
Okay, buddy. We'll see you soon. Moe Milad, folks. Awesome. Great interview. Really, really great guy, though, folks. I think it's important. You can have all kinds of, that's what I love about this podcast. It's, I get to meet and chat with all these kind of people, but more importantly, like just good people, up and coming athletes or people in the sport that are at a higher level, whatever it happens to be. But just have good, candid conversations with people who actually just want to get better and share the wealth of knowledge they have. So that was a good chat. Thank you, Mo. All right, folks. Tomorrow, just to let you know, the pay-per-view link is out tomorrow morning. Pre-order is available tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. on a Sunday, the Lord's Day. We're dropping it. Anyway, everybody who pre-orders the pay-per-view tomorrow will be put in a fantastic draw for some stickers and a beautiful hoodie from Fight League Atlantic. So make sure you get that pay-per-view available tomorrow. I'm a little thrown off here today. I'm not on the usual schedule of interviews, so I'm not really as smooth as I would like to be. And I'm not very smooth as the best at times. So it's day 5 of quarantine for myself in Chelsea since getting back from Alberta. So yeah, day 6 tomorrow. Another podcast with Mr. John McKinnon. Excited to have him on, a local sheriff and a great guy from Sydney, Nova Scotia. Mr. John McKinnon, we'll have him on. Anyway, folks, pay attention. We're going to be dropping some more information about our pay-per-view in the next week. A couple fighters left to drop. 3 fighters exactly left to come up. We'll drop those this week. Anyway, folks, thanks for watching. Lots of love to you. Be kind to one another out there. It's a terrifying world.